So let's just jump right into it. I'm here to burst your bubble, and I'm sorry. It's not my fault the truth is the truth and that it's set up the way that it is, but it is, and we need to talk about it. To burst someone's bubble, shatter someone's illusions about something, or destroy someone's sense of well-being. And there's nothing that's going to destroy someone's sense of well-being more than finding out that your trusted truther, the ones who introduced you to specific topics, the ones that you believed in, are part of this deception. But I want you to remember as we discuss this is for you. So, who do you trust? The answer to that is no one, none of the above. The reason being is that this whole stage is controlled by the controllers. That means that the whole show, all the actors, the good guys, the bad guys, and everybody in between are their actors under their script. So now let's talk about the method that they use. They hook you with little golden nuggets of truth to gain your trust so that you will listen to them. So once they've given you some truth and they gain your trust and they gain your ear, that's when they start in with the deceptions. Because every good lie is going to have a lot of truth and the rest be false. That's what makes a good lie. The distractions are to keep you running in circles, looking in the wrong direction, so that you're not paying attention to what you should be really concerned about. What is a distraction? A thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. And the controllers absolutely love YouTube because it is a breeding ground for distractions and ways to keep you wasting your time so that you don't know the thing they're really trying to hide from you. So the recruitment process, how do they get these truthers to be part of the deception? Coercion, the practice of persuading someone to do something by using force or threats. To put it simply, the controllers have something on them. It's something they've done, something they could get in trouble for, and something that's being held over their head. And so they're given a job to do, which is to go on and deceive people in the truther community. And that's how they get roped in, guys. And with something this important, a deception this big, they have the whole spectrum covered. They've got the market cornered on every aspect of truther issues that exist. Christian, planetary, Nibiru, New Age, alternative health, flat earth, government corruption, political, etc. They're not going to leave any corner of the truther community unchecked without one of their deceivers leading the pack on that topic. So what I want people to know is this, that I am not discussing any of the people that I'm going to name because of who they are, where they stand on any issue, or what topics they cover. Because some of these issues I do agree with and I do support, but it has nothing to do with that. What I'm interested in is the deception and the intentions behind what they are doing. That is what I'm not okay with. I'm not attacking the person. I'm attacking the behavior and the actions and the taking part in a deception that has been completely orchestrated by the controllers in an effort to lead people astray. That is a thing that I just cannot tolerate and angers me to no end. That these people, for whatever reason, have gotten wrapped up in this and they are distracting people and wasting people's time from the thing that they need to know that's going to determine whether they survive this catastrophe that's coming or not. Because I'm going to tell you something. They all know. The controllers know, And everybody that's deceiving you knows. And if they aren't pointing you towards the electromagnetic plasma catastrophe, they are irrelevant. So when you start to understand the scope of this and what is at stake, you need to start asking these questions. How many subscribers do these people have? Who do they associate with? Who do they promote? Who do they attack? Now this can be tricky considering what I told you, considering that all the actors are on the same payroll. So there are going to be opposing views and spats, again, to distract you. What kind of graphics do they have? Do you understand what kind of manpower and hours it takes to get somebody to make you graphics? Does it seem like they have a team working behind them? How many videos do they upload every day or every week for that matter? How do they have the time to do that, considering they're working? If they're working, then do they have the time to pump out those videos? If they're not working, how are they affording to stay afloat? Are they monetized? As you can see, Brian and I are not monetized. So monetized sites might give you a clue, right? Are they asking for donations? Now this can be tricky as well because some sites that do ask for donations are part of the control system. But if they're not, then how are they supporting themselves and pumping out the content that they do? Now we're going to take an example. Shaking My Head Productions. This is a channel that was started in 2017. They have 102,718 subscribers and millions of views on their video. Do you know how hard it is to get that amount of exposure in that little amount of time? And oh, looky here, they're monetized, which means that YouTube has reviewed and approved of their content. Then you go over and you look in the related channels section, and you'll notice when you go to all these channels, you are going to see the same related channels popping up time and time again in that right-hand column. Promoted by YouTube/Google nonetheless. Is it starting to make sense now? These are the questions that you need to ask when you look at these channels. Are these people being interviewed on any kind of platform with a microphone in front of their face? Are they having any kind of exposure like that? If they are getting that kind of exposure, there's your clue. If they are being interviewed, are they being torn to shreds? Are they being argued with? But you can assume that anybody that gets the type of exposure that it would take to get an interview on any major channel or platform, that they are in the club. And who are these channels recommending? Who's recommending them? Who are they pals with? And don't think that the smaller channels are necessarily safe either, because another tactic they have is to bring in constantly the newer, smaller channels that look like they're independent because they're smaller. However, they do this because over time, people start to get hesitant of the people that have been out there for a while and do have a lot of subs and a lot of exposure. So they have to constantly be bringing in and bringing up new channels that seem to be just working on their own and working to seek truth. But that is not the case. So what you need to know is these distractions waste your time. And they know that hardworking people only have so many hours in the day. So if they can waste hours of your time with things that distract you from what's really important and lead you astray, then that is a victory to them, because you're not researching what you really need to know, which is how to survive the coming catastrophe. And what makes this very tricky in this truther world is that there is some truth to what these people are saying and lots of distractions. It's up to you to weed through it and figure out what is important and what is complete BS. And why do the controllers absolutely love to round people up into the spiritual, religious, and metaphysical arenas? especially through convincing you that the world is run by Satanists and the Illuminati, because their message is the same. The thread that runs through all of these areas is work hard for God, be a part of something, be humble, take those down who aren't humble, take direction, be unselfish, be meek, do no harm. And finally, don't question, do what you're told. This makes you not a threat to them. When you are trained to do this, you will stay in your place in the system and you won't be a threat to the people that are threatening you. But if you can understand the game within which you are operating, then you can start to ask the important questions and start to look to the intentions behind what these channels and what these people are really doing and what would be their angle. Now let's have a quick review for those of you that are brand new to my message and my content. Number 1, there is a naturally reoccurring civilization-ending catastrophe coming again. We call it the EMCO, the electromagnetic plasma changeover event. Number 2, they do not want you to know about it. The controllers have kept it from the entire population. Number 3, they keep it hidden because their system would not work if people knew that a natural catastrophe continues to wipe out civilizations over and over again. Number 4, they knew what the signs would be, so they have been conditioning the public through all types of media since the beginning to think what's happening is anything but a naturally reoccurring event. Number 5, everything you are exposed to in the media, movies, TV, radio, etc. is created to serve a purpose. Their top priority? Get you to believe what you will be witnessing is anything but the EMCO. Number 6, they don't care what you think is occurring. UFOs and alien attack, 5G, nuclear war, weather manipulation, portals and demons, Matrix, Planet X, solar flares, pole shift, sun simulator, etc. As long as you don't think that this is a naturally reoccurring catastrophe that has happened and will continue to happen until the end of time. Number 7, and that's where the corrupt truther channels serve their purpose, to distract and divert you and waste your time, keeping you from the truth you seek. So we're going to start with the alien UFO deception. Now, the first move of this deception was a movie made back in 1902, the first movie ever featuring aliens, where they started planting the seeds. You're fighting an uphill battle when you try to fight the information war against those with teams of people who always knew what the signs would be and started the deceptive diversions to confuse people way before you were even born. Every move I make to get this out to the public, I am countered by them immediately. Independence Day back in 1996 was predictive programming to what we were going to see in New York this year. Look similar at all? And due to the barrage of movies and TV shows based on aliens and UFOs, that is the thing that people are going to go to first. And what you're seeing in the background is me scrolling through every single video made on aliens and UFOs since the beginning. Now let me tell you guys, it's a long list, and when Hollywood puts that much money and effort into making that many videos, you know that that is an agenda that they're pushing for a very good reason. And the reason is to hide the cause of the coming catastrophe. Now, the rational people, the non-conspiracy people, will think it's drones or military technology. Hence the reason that Intel pushed this video on nighttime drones lighting up the sky. Isn't that convenient? How the signs of the EMCO can look a lot like lit up drones in the night sky. And to show you that the controllers are worried and they are getting ahead of this, on January 10th, Fox News put out a report that they received deep space radio signals. The lesson? Whatever they promote, go in the other direction. Now, the one thing that you never learn about and you never hear about is how our world is made of plasma. So I'm showing this plasma ball because I want you to look very carefully at how plasma moves, all the different points of light and different aspects on it based on the angle you are at and what it is attracted to. You're also going to see some of this in the sky that looks like a very slow motion because, to put it simply, it's like we are in a giant plasma ball. So it's not always going to move as quick as a small plasma ball would. But you need to be familiar with how plasma appears in its various forms and what it does when it's trying to ground to something. Now we're going to look at an event that just happened over London, England on January 11th. At first view, it can appear like a UFO, but if you watch the movement and the way that the light moves, and you've studied that plasma ball, you're going to see that that is actually plasma you are seeing in the sky trying to ground. But all the channels that put that out there are going to say it's a UFO, an alien technology. Now, they tried to say that this was due to a light show, but if you try and look up any information on a light show over London, there is nothing there. Now, there's a lot of fake videos out there with CGI to make people think that it's actually UFOs, but this is authentic video because it was captured by numerous people that night. Now, do the controllers put drones up there and other technology that can be perceived as UFOs to confuse people? Absolutely, but this is not one of them. Further proof that it's not aliens, this was captured in Australia on January 8th of this year. That's not aliens. This is footage captured from one of our members, and he states in the following email, "I filmed the moon tonight and something really strange is going on. I have been filming the moon now with my P900 camera for nearly 2 years, in which I have over 200 recordings. I have never seen anything close to what I saw tonight. There seems to be some sort of energy around the moon, so much so that my camera would not stay focused." And if you look at this video, you can see that there's some sort of plasma energy around the moon, especially at the bottom where there has a orangish glow that prevented the camera from being able to stay focused. Further proof that this is not an alien phenomena we are seeing. It is the early warning signs of the catastrophe. And if you look at the moon with your own eyes, you can see the entire disk lit up with a light ring around the dark edges. This is another video I received from Lisa Nazario in Rockland County, New York on the 6th of January. Further proof that this is a change in our world and not aliens. This photo was sent to me documenting the purple skies on January 10th. And this is no filter, guys. That photo's not edited whatsoever. Since when did our skies become purple? Meanwhile, on the same day, January 10th, in Germany, another part of the world, we have pink and purple skies documented. This next video is back in New York, and this is on January 6th of this year, documenting red sky and red and pink clouds. This is not aliens, guys. Here's a video taken on January 7th of this year over Cambodia, and all the videos posting are saying it's aliens and it's a transforming ship. It's not, guys. Once you know the model and you understand the nature of your world, then all the events start to make sense, and you can rule out all the deceivers and all the misinformation and connect it all to the change in our world due to the coming plasma catastrophe. Here is a quick list of fireballs that have been seen and captured in the sky recently. Now, these are the ones that have been captured. Who knows how many are falling that people do not see or capture on film. Now, some of these are actually material falling from above that were shot up during old catastrophes, old ejection material, and some of these are actually the plasma. But make no mistake, the occurrences of these things are increasing at a tremendous rate, and these are the preliminary signs of the coming EMCO. If you break down the word entertainment, The etymology of it means to enter and control the mind. Movies and television shape the way that we see our reality, what we believe is possible and what we believe exists, and the controllers have known that from the very start. Everything you are exposed to has a purpose. It has an agenda, and if you cannot start to see the world in those terms, you will never get close to the truth. And the top agenda for the controllers is to hide the naturally reoccurring catastrophe and make people believe that it was anything but what really happened. And the number one way that they do that is through the existence of alien UFO ships. They've known exactly what the signs would be and what would occur. And so every single movie that's been put out regarding aliens and UFOs have mimicked the real consequences that are going to come from the EMCO. They show you what's going to happen. They just skew the cause. Why do so many people assume that UFOs are bright lights? Because they've conditioned you to believe that. Do you really think that UFOs are going to cruise around in the sky with big bright lights on, telling everybody, hey, we're here? If they had the technology to do that, they certainly wouldn't be shining huge lights in the sky. You have to use your brain, people, and again, see the world for what it is, which is the conditioning to get you to believe a certain thing to cover up something else. When people see a light now in the sky, they automatically go to what they've been conditioned to believe through hundreds of movies and TV shows, which is it must be an alien craft in the sky. Well, I'm here to tell you that everything you're witnessing, the changes and the signs that are happening in our world today, are a direct result of the coming EMCO plasma catastrophe. I'm not saying that other beings don't exist, but that is a topic for another time. What you need to know is that all these things they are showing you in movies will happen during the EMCO. Loss of what holds things to the ground, anything electrical being affected, anything conductive, anything that can be affected by electromagnetism, which is the base foundation of your world. Everything is electromagnetic, and when you can understand that, you will get closer to what is really going to happen to what we know as Earth. I encourage anybody to watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind again, because if you take away the alien factor and you input the plasma catastrophe, you will see that this movie is telling you many secret truths, as well as the lengths the controllers will go to cover up what they don't want to be known by the population. In this video, I'm going to show you real-life examples of what is shown in movies, and we're going to talk about what the real cause of it is. Now remember, I said they know the signs that are going to show up. So they show everything from the lights in the sky to the what appears to be lightning flashes in the sky. They have it all down, and they show you in movies. Only this electricity, these flashes in the sky, are not caused by alien ships. They are caused by the plasma that is being charged. Here in Atlanta, Georgia, we see the purple to white to blue flash of light in the sky. This is actually not a transformer explosion as labeled, but it is the plasma lighting up the sky. See more flashes of light in January on the 25th over Canada with no sound associated to it. And if you look at this clip, the light is actually coming from the sky, not a source on the ground. Twitter has actually been flooded with people reporting seeing lights in the sky all over the world. Here I'm going to show you another clip from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now look at this video. Anything look familiar? What most people don't understand is very few people, especially people in cities, will actually see what really happens. There will be so much cloud cover due to the plasma that people will not see what actually happens, and they won't know what caused the destruction that is going to be caused. The more conductive material that the plasma is going to be attracted to, the more cloud cover you will have. It's why you'll see in all ancient artwork depicting God that God is sitting in the clouds. They would rather divide the population and get a huge chunk of people to believe that the destruction and the signs that they are seeing is coming from aliens than for you to know the truth, for their system to survive, which is that this is a naturally reoccurring catastrophe. Are you starting to see the agenda now? As I compare real footage to footage that has been shown in movies, that they knew what the signs would be, and that their goal is to cover up the real cause. You can start to look at all information being put out there from the angle as why would they want us to believe this? Then you will start to see what is true and what is false. Here they show electronics being affected by the plasma.
Oh okay. You guys ever seen anything like this before?
Everything in our world is about the MCO. They worshipped it, they honored it, and everything they do is to hide its existence by diverting, distracting, and keeping you from it. People are starting to notice there is no more denying the signs, but you need to know what those signs mean. You have to really look at our skies. Yes, chemtrails exist, but that is not the total of the phenomenon that we are seeing in our world. We are seeing the atmosphere get charged and the effects of that in the skies. And what the chemtrails are doing are trying to hide that. They're trying to blur the preliminary signs of the electromagnetic phenomenon we are seeing in the sky so that you think it's all chemtrails. The controllers were the drivers of the chemtrail truther community from the beginning. It was all part of the deception. The reason that they made that such a big deal and made sure everybody knew about chemtrails was because when they needed them to disguise the natural electric phenomenon that was going to go on in the sky, they could use them to blur the signs so that people think what's happening up there is just chemtrails. But it's not just chemtrails. They have many purposes for their existence, but the biggest one at this point in time is to disguise the natural phenomenon as a preliminary sign of the coming MCO. When you realize the truth and you put the pieces together about how our world really works, including the sky and the earth, then everything starts to make sense. And one of those things is the real reason that NASA does everything that it does, all its demonstrations, all its practice runs, all of its activities underwater. Now they tell us that they do it underwater because it closely resembles outer space and zero gravity, but that's not the truth at all. The reason that they do everything that they do underwater is because they know that in the sky, underneath the electromagnetic dome and above, is water. So most people in the quote flat earth movement will tell you, yeah, there's probably water outside the dome or the firmament, but it's actually inside as well as outside. And what we're talking about is the electromagnetic dome. And they do all these things that they do to practice underwater is because they want to get up there and figure out a way to get out, and they know they're going to be in water. So that's why you'll see anything that was supposedly filmed in things like the fake moon landing and the fake space explorations, you'll see water bubbles is because they were underwater. So we're going to go back to the 2017 SpaceX rocket launch and talk again about what it is that we saw up in the sky. Now, I said that they pierced the waters above. I never said they pierced the firmament or the dome. The firmament is not the dome. The dome is the electromagnetic field that no one can get through. But the waters underneath, which are lower in the evening, is what they pierced with the rocket. And that's what they were intending to do. So as you can see, if you look at bullets being shot underwater, the similarities of what that looks like with the rocket launch. So the problem with the typical flat earth community, anybody that identifies as a flat earther, is they don't tell you everything. They say, oh, the earth is flat and this is how we know, and they leave it at that. But to not ask more questions and to not take it any further is really suspicious, because there's always answers beyond the answers, right? Anybody who's seriously interested in the pursuit of the truth is not going to quit asking questions and say, okay, well, that's it, we're done. But they're not talking about the waters inside the electromagnetic dome. Now, the controllers, of course, they know there's water up there. They've been doing all they've been doing with NASA to figure out a way to get out. Now, they don't know that they can't get through it, but they're still going to try, and they have tried. And somebody asked the question, oh, so they tried this in broad daylight in front of everybody? Yeah, they did, because they know that people are not going to understand what they're seeing. With the indoctrination and the brainwashing and the control from the time you enter school, they know that no one's going to understand what they're seeing. So yeah, they are going to do that in broad daylight, because everybody that believes the line of crap that the mainstream media outlets and figureheads are saying, they're watching it happen and they don't know what it is. So of course they're going to do that in front of everybody. Why wouldn't they? So let's talk about people that say, oh my gosh, if there's water up there, why wouldn't the water fall down on us? Well, if you understand that it's all about electromagnetism, you'll understand how water can absolutely levitate and be repelled by magnetism. And that's what you're seeing here, is water that's being levitated in the air by magnetism. So that is what is keeping the water above us, above the atmosphere and into the atmosphere. So if you can imagine in this picture here that there would be water above that dome and underneath, and that would be what it looks like. So no, the water's not going to fall on us because it's being repelled upward. And the reason why I'm showing you these pictures in comparison to pictures with bullets being fired underwater or entering water is because you can see in this picture where the rocket was going up and the point at which it splashes and enters the water, which is that fatter area in the middle. That's where it enters, and then you can see the stream around the rocket. That is the water being pushed out on either side, like a bullet going underwater. And, you know, looking at these pictures enough and understanding what you're seeing, that you're actually seeing it enter the waters at an angle, in the same angle you would see a swimmer dive into a pool of water. That is what you were seeing with the rocket above. So here's another image of that SpaceX rocket entering the atmosphere and then the water. So is it now starting to make sense why NASA is doing what they're doing underwater? It's got nothing to do with zero gravity or outer space, because there is no outer space. There's nothing out there remotely of what they say that there is. And I can imagine if you've found your way to my channel, then you probably in some way know that or have heard that it's not outer space at all. So again, they didn't pierce the dome because they can't get through it. They don't have the technology to get through it. But they definitely tried, and they tried on multiple occasions. On the 21st in Southern California, of December 2017 on the 26th in Russia. And similar rockets have been filmed in different times and different years that look exactly the same. So I just want to tell you that if you are one of the people that are talking to me about Elon Musk and you're talking to me about a Tesla car in space, you do not belong here. You need to go and don't bother commenting, because none of that is true. That is all fiction. I've had people come on and say that what I'm talking about is fiction. No, 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 no. What you're being fed by the controllers is fiction. If this is the first one of my videos you've seen, then you are actually being exposed to the truth for the first time. So if you don't understand that Elon Musk and all these different, like, quote, scientists and corporation CEOs and inventors, if you think that these are really people doing what they say that they're doing, you have no business being here. Don't bother commenting, because they are just a face and an actor put up by the controllers in front of the public. None of that is true. Everything that you have been taught has been a lie. And unless you can start from scratch and unwind everything you've been told from the time you entered school, you don't have a chance to ever figure out the truth. You have to start from what you know to be true, not what you've been told. These big truther channels are just disgusting in the fact that they purposely lead people in the wrong direction for their own personal gain, so that people don't know there's a naturally reoccurring catastrophe coming, and it'll happen again.